Today's drones can launch in seconds. They can get eyes on the scene before the first patrol car arrives, before fire turns the corner, and before EMS reaches the patient, and before command and control has a clear picture. And that's powerful. But the drone is not the program. No, the program is everything else that's behind it. The policy, the governance, the dispatch rules, the training, the privacy controls, the transparency, the data retention, the public trust, and the connection back to the emergency response chain. Because if the drone launches faster than the policy around it, public safety is going to create a brand new problem while trying to solve the one that's there. Drone first responder programs, or DFRs, are expanding quickly, but before the aircraft lifts off, the rules need to be in place. And that's coming up next on TiPS Today in Public Safety.
Welcome to TiPS Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories in public safety news. Here's your host, Fletch, with today's tips.
Welcome to TiPS Today in Public Safety. This is Fletch. I'm a NENA certified ENT, and every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I bring you the latest in telecommunications news and public safety technology. Today, we're talking about DFR programs, or drones, as first responders. And more importantly, why the drone itself isn't the program. Now, you might not realize it, but that distinction matters, because drones themselves are moving quickly from interesting technology to real operational capabilities. Police, fire, EMS, emergency management, and 911 organizations are all looking at drones for faster scene assessment, officer safety, fire ground intelligence, search and rescue, crash response, missing persons, hazmat, crowd conditions, and disaster response. And there's a very good reason behind all that. Number one, a drone can often reach the scene faster than a ground unit. And number two, it's able to see things that responders can't see from the street. It can provide live information before people walk into danger. It can help determine whether more resources are needed, or whether the situation just isn't what the caller thought that it was. Yeah, that's all real value, but the program cannot begin and end with the aircraft, because once that drone's in the air, the bigger questions begin. Who launches it? Who authorizes it? What calls qualify for it? Who gets to see the video? And does that information get recorded? And if it is, how long is it kept? Can it be used as evidence? Can it be shared? And what happens if it flies over private property? And how does that information actually get back into 911, dispatch, field response, and incident command? All of that is the reason why the drone isn't the program. No, the drone is just a tool, and the program is the discipline around the tool. Why this is happening now. DFR programs are expanding because they solve one of public safety's oldest problems: time. The first few minutes of an emergency are often full of uncertainty. Callers may be excited, the location may be incomplete, and even the threat itself may still be moving. Scenes may be unsafe, and the first unit may not know whether they're responding to a crash, a fire, a fight, a false alarm, or something completely different. Drones give public safety a chance to see something sooner. At a crash scene, it may show blocked lanes, entrapment, fire, or secondary hazards. At a structure fire, it may show roof conditions, fire spread, and exposures. For a disturbance, it's likely to show whether the crowd is growing, leaving, or escalating. And for missing persons, it'll cover ground faster than any ground team ever could. And those are the reasons why this is gaining big traction. But faster eyes also create faster decisions. And when you start making faster decisions, that requires better rules. Drones shouldn't launch just because they're available. No, they should launch because the incident meets a defined public safety purpose. And that purpose should be understood by the dispatch, understood by the field, and understood by command. And most of all, it needs to be explainable to the public. Dispatch integration matters. Drone first responder programs can't sit off to the side as a specialty toy. Not anymore. No, they have to be part of the emergency response workflow. The telecommunicator may be the first person that recognizes that a drone would add value. A dispatcher may be coordinating the drone response with police, fire, EMS, or command. And then the field responder may rely on the drone feed before arrival. Incident command may use it to stage units, block roads, evacuate an area, or change tactics. But for that to work, the drone has to be integrated with procedures. Not a separate phone call, not a separate app, not a separate team operating in isolation, and certainly not a video feed that only one person can see. If the drone sees something important, where does that information go? Does it go in a CAD? Does it become part of the incident notes? What about fire, EMS, law enforcement, or emergency management? Will they be able to see it when they need it? And can it follow the incident if the call is transferred or escalated? And that's where this connects directly to NG911. Because the future's not just about a drone getting there first, it's about what happens to the information that the drone collects. Because if that information doesn't reach the people who need it and in time to act on it, then we haven't built a program, we built a disconnected tool. Privacy isn't a footnote. Now, we've got to talk about privacy, and no, privacy is not the enemy of public safety. Privacy is actually part of public trust, and a drone in the sky changes how people feel, sometimes in a good way and sometimes not. You see, if the public understands that the drone is responding to a crash, a missing child, a fire, or an active threat, they'll probably support it. But if they believe that drone is just watching neighborhoods, recording video, or expanding surveillance without clear limits, trust is going to disappear instantly. And that's why privacy can't be a paragraph in a press release. No, it's got to be part of the operating model. What flights are allowed? What flights are prohibited? When is recording allowed? And who can view the feed? How long is that footage retained? And who can request it later? And what about the whole system gets audited and who's accountable? See, all of those questions need answers before the program scales. Because the very first time something controversial starts to happen, and you know that it will, the agency is not only going to be judged on the flight, it'll be judged on whether the rules existed before the flight. Transparency builds permission. Public safety agencies can earn permission through the use of transparency, especially with powerful tools like DFR. A good drone program must be able to explain itself in plain language. Here's why we use drones. Here's when we use them. These are the people that are controlling them, and here's an example of what we record as well as what we don't record. This is where we keep the data, how long we keep it, and who can access it, as well as the system we use to audit it. That kind of transparency doesn't weaken public safety, it actually strengthens it. Because the worst time to explain a drone program is after someone posts a video online asking why a police drone was over their house, because by then the agency is reacting. No, the better approach is to explain the program well before the first controversial flight. Set the expectations, publish the policies, and be sure to brief your elected officials, and most of all, talk to the community. Make sure the public understands that the reason the drone is there is to support a well-defined emergency response mission, and not to replace good judgment, not to bypass accountability, and not to become a flying camera looking for a reason to exist. The reality check. Now, let's be realistic here. Drone programs are not free, and they're not simple. The actual aircraft is only one small part of the overall cost. You need trained pilots, you need FAA compliance, you need maintenance, as well as batteries, launch sites, weather procedures, and video management. And don't forget about cybersecurity, evidence rules, dispatch protocols, and legal review. All of that takes public information planning and ongoing training, because you also need people who understand what they're seeing. Just having a live video feed doesn't automatically create awareness. No, someone still has to interpret the scene. Someone's still got to communicate what matters. And someone's got to know when the drone is helping and when it's becoming a distraction. Now, that's not a reason to avoid drones, it's a reason to build the program correctly. And that's because a well-governed drone program can actually reduce risk, improve awareness, and help responders make better decisions. But a poorly governed one can create confusion, liability, and public mistrust. The bottom line. DFR programs are coming fast. In many places, they're already here. And that shouldn't surprise anyone. Public safety has always looked for ways to arrive faster, see things sooner, and understand things more clearly. And part of the reason is to protect responders from unnecessary risk. Can drones help with that? Absolutely they can. But the drone itself isn't the program. The program is the policy, the governance, the dispatch integration, the privacy model, as is the transparency, the training, and the data rules, along with public communication and the connection back into the emergency response chain of care. Yeah, a drone can be the first on scene, but policy has got to arrive before it even lifts off. Because built right, drone as a first responder programs can become a well-disciplined public safety capability. Not a gimmick, not a gadget, not another disconnected platform. No, a trusted part of the emergency response ecosystem, one that supports the telecommunicator, keeps the responder informed while protecting the public and giving command a clearer picture before anyone walks into danger. That wraps up this episode of TiPS Today in Public Safety. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today. I hope this topic gave something that you can think about for your agency. Thanks for watching, and if you were in public safety, thanks for what you do every single day. This is Fletch. Stay safe, stay curious. We'll catch you next time. And keep asking the questions that move public safety forward. We'll catch you next time. Hey, it's Fletch. Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you learned something new. Remember to catch all of my previous episodes of TiPS Today in Public Safety, published every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on most social media platforms and streaming 24/7 at 911tips.com. My blogs are located at fletch.tv, and my personal website is at fletch911.com. Remember to like and subscribe. It really helps out the algorithms. And if you're in public safety, thanks for what you do every single day. We'll catch you next time. Take care.
You've been listening to TiPS Today in Public Safety, your go-to podcast for today's breaking stories and public safety news. Hosted by Fletch and available every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Catch past episodes on 911tips.com. Be sure to like and subscribe, and remember to join us each week for the latest on NG 911. I am Spider Harrison, the official 911 voiceover dude. Catch me on Sirius XM on various channels, including 90s on 9, the 10 spot, and on the Weekend Countdown on Hits 1. Or don't regret it for the rest of your life. Either way, I'm good.